Hello? Alright, alright, what's up? I just kind of want to make a little, like, ramble type of video. Just, off the dome type video. Just talking about my account progression. And, this is a video for main accounts, not Iron Man or hardcore, anything of that sort. Just main accounts. The thing about main accounts is you pretty much just, the whole point of a main account, or the whole progression of the main account, is pretty much just GP. You're just trying to get as much GP as you can to get yourself into the later stages of the game, pretty much. And there's a lot of skills that you can use with GP to level up much faster. Examples like smithing, herb lore, cooking, crafting, farming, slayer, fletching, magic, ranged, construction. Like, there's a lot. There's probably some I think that's all of them. Oh, prayer. Obviously, prayer. Money is very important on a main account. It makes the route for your account progression much different than a normal Iron Man. So, when I first made my account, there were certain things I definitely didn't do right. I was definitely not, like, completely efficient. I was just kind of going off the dome, just trying different methods. I always read the wiki. Like, I'm just kind of I kind of have like a weird addiction to reading the wiki. I'm just always reading the wiki and seeing different money makers. What's the stat requirements? What's like low effort, decent money? And the moneymaker that I saw, initially I rushed to do Blast Furnace. That was a big mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Blast Furnace is very click intensive. And it's just boring. Like, very boring. It's pretty good because you're leveling up smithing, but it's just boring. I feel like if you're doing some kind of combat type of moneymaker using your combat stats, it's actually much more enjoyable and it's more AFK, usually. So after I messed up with Blast Furnace, I decided I wanted to rush doing the vampire quest. I rushed my account to get Sins of the Father done, pretty much. There's some people that there's some people that I suggested them to get into RuneScape. I suggested it to them, and when they started playing, I told them to rush Sins of the Father, and it seemed to work out pretty well. To do Sins of the Father, it's a pretty, it's not a hard fight. If you're like in the early mid game of your account level, like, you could definitely get it done. Definitely. It won't take that long to get your stats up to be able to do the quest and finish the fight. Like, honestly, you can get to Sins of the Father in like a little over a week if you're not playing, even if you're not playing as much. The reason why you want to rush to get Sins of the Father is you can kill Fire Watches and you could be leveling up your combats, and you could potentially get the Blood Shard. If you get a Blood Shard, that's just like a bond right off the bat. Even if you don't get a Blood Shard, you're making pretty decent money per hour. I was making like 400 to 500,000 an hour just killing Fire Watches without getting a Blood Shard. I would always pick up everyone's drops and my drops. I would high elk everything. Pretty much pick up literally everything. And it costs no money to kill them. Literally no money. You don't have to spend money getting prayer pots or food, really. I mean, food, yeah, but not really. You eat like one food like every like hour. Seriously. There's a bank and there's a well right next to each other. A well that you like sacrifice a little bit of your health to get prayer. You get your prayer completely up. It's a very convenient spot. Very convenient. I pretty much sat there until I got like 5 to 6 blood shards. And then from there, I pretty much just focused on questing. I really wanted to get Dragon Slayer 2 and Recipe for Disaster done. It doesn't matter what kind of account you have. It's just really good to get questing done so you can just unlock more of the game. Vorkath is a good moneymaker, yes, but it's insanely boring in my opinion. Just very boring. I'm the type of person where I don't like consistent money. I like just grinding something and trying to get a pretty rare drop and then that paying off for the grind. Like, I'm just that type of person. So instead of doing Vorkath, I opted to do God Wars from Firewatches pretty much. I got my money from the blood shards at Firewatch Sentinels, and then I used that money to pretty much get tank gear. And once I got tank gear, which by the way, you can only spend like 20 mil and you get some pretty good tank gear. Only like 20 mil would be enough. Maybe like 22 mil or something. You want to have I'll probably just put up on the screen like what's the best tank gear you could possibly wear there to like the worst. But one thing that you just really want to have is you want to have a BGS and you want to have like a Fury, and then you could just use some like full Torags or like full Guthans. It don't really matter. All those armors have like pretty much, you just want armor that has really good ranged defense because you're going to be tanking a lot of range hits when you tank in Bandos. The wiki's not completely right, like what like the best and worst gear is, to be honest. Pretty much this is all you need to know when you do Bandos. You want to have the highest range defense you could possibly get with your money. So Justice here is definitely best in slot. It's not required though. Definitely really good though. I tanked that Bandos until I made a pretty good amount of money from Bandos. I think I probably made like 50. There was like a week where I just tanked the entire week, and I made like 50 mil or something. I don't know, something like that. From there, I was at that point where it's kind of hard to get at. I was like in that, like, my account was late game, like my stats were really good, but man, I should talk about my, you know what, before I even get there I should talk about my stats, what I did. To upgrade my stats, my melee stats, I AFK'd Nightmare Zone for like, I kind of went crazy with it. I AFK'd it for like weeks, pretty much. I wanted to get my melee stats to weeks. That's kind of capping. But there was like this 1 week where I got my stats to like high 80s or low 90s. My melee stats specifically. My ranged was very low for like the longest time. It was like 80 or something like that. I AFK'd at the Ammonite crabs to get my ranged up. And for magic, I did Monkey Madness. This is a very important quest. I did Monkey Madness 2, and I pretty much used a lot of my money to level up my magic. I used tens of millions. It's worth it, in my opinion. There's definitely cheaper methods that aren't too bad of XP. I saw this one method where someone was using, I think they used like Confuse and High Elking at the same time or something like that. It was a pretty cool method, and it was like zero cost pretty much. But I just wasted all my money and barraged the maniacal monkeys. That's pretty much what I did. But honestly, I was rushing to level up my stats because I wanted to do raids. But if you're not impatient like me, just, you know, you could save money and do whatever method you want. I'm just saying what I did. So from Bandos, I pretty much, oh yeah, by this time, by the way, I had Monkey Madness 2, but by the time I was tanking Bandos, I already had Dragon Slayer done. I already had a Dragon Slayer 2, by the way. I had that done. I had Recipe for Disaster done. I had the Barrels Gloves. I had the backpack, the Ava Device 3. I had Monkey Madness 2 done, so I had the Maniacal Monkey spot unlocked, that training method. And I had a Fire Cape. I got a Fire Cape way before any of that. A Fire Cape is honestly, that's something that once your range gets in like the 70s, like that's something you should already like have by then, to be honest. Like once it gets to like the high 70s, you should be already getting like By the way, when you do a fire cape, you should have a blow that guide, the guide that his name is Josh Strife Plays. That's the most popular fire cape guide. Pretty sure. That's most likely if you search up when you're trying to go for attempts for the fight caves, usually that's the guide you're gonna end up coming across. There's something that's really it's very misleading because the blowpipe got nerfed. But you don't want to only use the blowpipe when you do the fight caves. You want to have a swap out. You want to have a crossbow and you want to have blowpipe. Because the blowpipe got nerfed. So enemies that have higher defenses, it's worse on now. So you just want to make sure you have a swap out. So you want to have a crossbow. You want to use the crossbow for the major and the Jad himself. That's it. Everything else you could just use the blowpipe. It's fine. But anyway, from Bandos, I pretty much just went to Nex. At the time, Nex was the best option for me. All the most expensive drops at Nex were 400 mil. I'm pretty sure it was the plate body and the plate legs. They were both 400 mil. And then the horn was like 300 mil, and then the rest were like 200 mil, something like that. At the time, that was the best scenario for me. That was months ago, by the way. That was literally months ago. That was like March or something. It's not like that anymore. I stayed at Nex for how long was it? I stayed at Nex for over no, my bad. I stayed at Nex for like almost a month. I was there for 20 days straight, like the whole day nonstop. I did 100 4-man. No, I did 100 like 4-mans, 5-mans. I forgot how you do Nex. I think it's 5-mans or something. I kind of forgot. It's been a while. I did like 100 5-mans, and then the rest of my 800 kills was all groups, all FFA. On my 800th kill, that's when I got my drop. I'll put the clip up now.
You got it?
I got the drop. Oh my god.
What'd you get? What'd you get?
Oh my god.
What'd you get?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What'd you get?
Oh my god.
What'd you get?
Oh my god.
Hello?
No way, man. Oh my god. No way.
Give daddy his cut.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Are you looking at the stream? Right on 800 on the dot. I swear to god.
You're streaming?
Yes, I am.
Wait, what? Off the bat? Wait, what'd you just say?
800 on the dot. Go on.
No way.
I got that. I got plate legs, and that was pretty crazy. I was doing Nex with God D'hide and an Armadillo. You don't even need Armadillo. You can use a dragon crossbow. It'll be good. Okay, they see the setup and they get very, very timid about it. This guy's on tat. Hello? But I was using some really trash gear, and then from then I just got a 400 mil drop from grinding. Pretty much my account just like instantly, to me at least, my account instantly got into like the later game of gear. I was able to get really good gear now. At the time, that was the one place where you could just pretty much like, with your stats not being too, oh yeah, my range level was like pretty low when I was doing it. It was like, when I started doing it, it was like mid to high 80s. And then when I was done with Nex, it was in the mid 90s, because that's how much I did it. You get a lot of range XP when you do Nex because of the spec. There's a XP scaling on Nex. So I got a lot of range XP while doing Nex. My whole reasoning for doing Nex was because I was trying to get an Infernal Cape. Like this whole before I started doing Nex, I didn't really care about the Infernal Cape, but then I wanted to actually get the Infernal Cape. I started gearing my account towards trying to get an Infernal Cape, doing my stats, getting money, and all that. And once I got that next drop, I pretty much just set myself up for Inferno. And I was doing Inferno attempts for like a week, and then I told myself I kind of don't. I was using like Armadillo, Kodai, Armadillo crossbow, and yeah, I was just doing some like cringe like that. But then I told myself I kind of don't want to do it with an Armadillo crossbow. The main reason being was I just didn't like that it was 8 range. That really bothered me. I just knew it was gonna take me longer. It was gonna take me longer and more attempts because me messing up with me messing up with like, the part in the Inferno where you gotta put it on long range so you can hit Jad in the corner. I just knew that I was gonna mess up a lot. I'm a really slow learner, and like I just know that stupid stuff like that I would just have a lot of stupid nuts because of it. So I was starting to want to get the Bofa, and I had a lot of money saved. I had a lot of extra money actually to get a Bofa still, because of that 400 mil that I got from the play legs. I still had a lot of a lot of money left over. But I told myself I think I could do it with Armadillo, so I saved it. But then I decided I'm gonna start going for Bofa, and this is something really dumb I did, but I started grinding to unlock Song of the Elves. All my stats were like not ready for it. I had very low stats that I had to level up just to even do the quest. So pretty much I leveled up all my stats to do Song of the Elves. I did the quest, and then I started learning how to do Corrupted Gauntlet. I was just striving further and further from the Inferno, which was really cringe in my opinion. And the Gauntlet, I was starting to learn it, but man, I was like trying so hard and just still not really getting consistent kills. I'm really bad at it. I think I only have like 30 kills or something. I'm just really bad at it. And I wasn't too far off from a Bofa. I pretty much like had enough. If I sold everything, I would like just be able to have a Bofa, have a Kodai, have the armor, all that, and have a tiny bit of money left over to do attempts, just a little bit. I was like, it was close though. So I was just told myself, I was like, all right, maybe I'll just get like a Bandos drop and then I'll start doing it. And that's what I did. I started doing Bandos again so I could get money to afford my Bofa set and my Inferno gear and all that and supplies. So I sold everything in my inventory pretty much, and I was able to finally afford the Bofa. I corrupted it. I got the armor. I wasn't even using what are those boots called? The Pegasian boots. I wasn't even using those anymore. I was using Brimstone boots. I wasn't using an Anguish. I couldn't afford it. I was using a Fury. What else was I using? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I sold my magic stuff. I wasn't using full Arums. I was only using an Arums top, the Kodai wand, and I wasn't using an occult because I was trying to save inventory space so that I can fit as much supplies in it. You don't really need a full swap for magic. It's very unnecessary, to be honest. It's not necessary. If you know how magic works, you'll understand it's not that serious. But I'll probably talk about that in another video, what I did for the Inferno, because right now I'm just talking about my account progression pretty much. It sounds like I'm kind of like speed running, like talking about this too quick, like what I did, but it's literally what I did though, to be honest. I did Fire Watches for like a very long time, like weeks, if not months. Then I went to Bandos and I was doing that for like weeks. And then I did Next and I did that for a month straight. Like, this is pretty much what I did, once I was able to get the stats to unlock those that level of content and the money. I started playing OSRS about like a year ago or something like that. Like almost 2 years ago. It was late 2020. That's when I started. So, I from not knowing like anything, the mechanics or anything like that, and I'd say I'm a pretty slow learner, mechanically wise. Like mechanically wise, I'm a pretty slow learner. There's still a lot of stuff I'm just not really good at. But I'm just trying to make this video to kind of inspire people about how account progression shouldn't look too intimidating. At the moment, say you just started an account, you're new right now, right? The only thing that I'd change that I did that you should do is instead of doing next, you should just do TOA. TOA is an amazing opportunity to make money very fast. If TOA was out and while I was doing next, oh man, I would have been a billionaire right now. I would have had billions. I'm broke on my account. I don't even play on my main. I kind of stopped playing on my main. But yeah, I was doing TOBs and all that. Like I don't really care about money on my main really. I was just kind of doing raids and just enjoying content, you know. And I finally got my Inferno cape. It took me like 2 months. You could see in my previous upload that was my full run. But I would just do TOA because TOA, it's so just accessible. It's scary. It's actually crazy. I didn't really do raids 1, but I started doing raids 2, and it's actually disgusting to do. It's nasty. I like I don't have that much high KC. I think I have like 20 or 19 KC. And it's so hard to find a group. And it would take me like an hour or 2 hours just to get one group. And so let's say I do get a group. I pretty much play like pretty well. And then we get to the last boss and we just wipe usually. Because I'm just playing with randoms. I'm playing on World 416 with randoms. And if you don't know what World 416 is, World 416 is usually the world where in TOB it's a FFA world. FFA meaning it's free for all. And what free for all means is if you guys get a drop, there's no split. Everyone keeps it for themselves. There's no splitting. You'd have to actually like let it be known before if you want to split or not. But no one splits in 416. So there's just not much good players on there. There's some really good players, but usually you're not going to be able to play with good players because you have low KC and they're not going to want to play with you. It's just very frustrating. Very frustrating. And at this moment, it's so hard to get a group for TOB because TOA is so popular. It actually boggles my mind that there's people trying to get groups and learn TOA. Like, just do it solo. It's literally they literally made it so that you'd be able to solo it just easily. TOB is just not easily soloable. I feel like there's stuff about it I just like really just wish they designed better, to be honest. I see people solo raids 1 and raids 3 just like easily. I learned how to do raids 3 recently. I did Invocation 200. I soloed it and it was like very easy. I'm a slow learner too. Like people who know me say they think that like this is like a cop out or something when I say this, but like I'm really not good at like games like initially. Like it takes me a long time to grasp something, like to understand the mechanics, to get used to it, not play nervous, all that. But I'm a dedicated person, so I keep trying. And TOA to me, honestly, I didn't really like feel like I struggled that much with it. I had a good amount of deaths learning it, but once I learned it, it felt like I was able to, consistently do it, and I didn't feel like I was gonna mess up or anything. The supplies they give you, it's disgusting. You get so much supplies. You put invocations to get less supplies, and I still feel like I have a bunch of supplies. The ambrosia is nasty. That thing shouldn't even be real. It's actually broken. Ambrosia, the summoning, I was about to say summoning salt. The smelling salt is broken. It's actually broken, completely broken. I did it when I was first doing the raid. I didn't know what the salt did. I already had died a bunch of times. Like, man, I was wondering, like, I would watch my cousin do it because out of the people I know that plays RuneScape, he's the only one that be running TOAs. I was like, man, how does he just like I just feel like he's consistently like getting them. Like I'm wondering like how is he doing these bosses? I saw his time for Akka or some other boss. I'm like, how's he doing it so fast? I saw him use the salt. I was realizing I'm like, wait a second. The salt brings your stats higher than a combat potion would. And you keep it after you drink a Ceridome and it goes back up? That's insane to me. That is completely broken. The smelling salts pretty much make it so that even if your stats aren't that high, they're like low 80s, you should still be able to do a 150 easily. Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, by the way, the gear I was using to do it, it was pretty much like 30 to 20 mil gear setup. You could make it even cheaper. I was using Pegasus. I was using primordial boots, but you don't even need to use those. It doesn't really matter. Gear progression in this game isn't as serious as you think. There's certain items that it's a huge difference between the one under it. That is true. I'll tell you which ones it is. The Fang is significantly better than the weapons under it. The Scythe is, depending on the boss, is significantly better than the weapons under it. The T-bow is significantly better than the weapon under it. Like, and the Shadow, like those are very obvious. But certain gear is not. And weapons. The rapier is not much better than the tentacle whip. It's not much better. It's pretty slight. The armadillo crossbow, the dragon crossbow, the rune crossbow, those are barely better than each other. Especially the armadillo and the dragon crossbow. They're not much better. The only thing that makes the dragon crossbow much better than the rune crossbow, a good amount better than the rune crossbow, is that you can use dragon bolts. But to be honest, I wouldn't even use dragon bolts unless you're doing some like content where it's like close kills, I guess. Say you want to use the ruby effect in the bolt, right? Using adamant bolts with the ruby effect compared to the dragon is not really going to make much of a difference because you're just looking for the spec anyway. That they both do 100 damage. It's not that serious. I would just use the adamant bolt. You save so much more money. What's something else? The Bofa and the T-bow, those are really good options. Those are definitely like a huge difference in gear. Definitely. But there's certain stuff where people just pay like they pay hundreds of millions just because it's technically best in slot. Like you really don't have to be doing that. It's unnecessary. You don't need an anguish. If you have a fury, you're good. You can use a fury for like literally everything, to be honest. That's what I do. You can make your gear setups very cheap. TOA is very accessible. Very, very accessible. So I'm just going to wrap up this video. I just want to leave off with the point that if you're trying to progress your account you're stuck in that spot where, you know, your bank's probably worth like around 100 mil, maybe like around there, or maybe 200 mil, something like that. And you want to start getting to higher numbers, definitely do TOA. For me, it was Nex. I did Nex because that's what it was at the moment when my account was at that spot. It was Nex. TOA didn't exist. The Nex drops are much cheaper now. I wouldn't do it now. Do TOA. The Masori I think it's the Masori body. It's still like 200 mil. The Fang is like the Fang's gonna go down because it's about to get changed and nerfed. But it's still like around 100 mil. The Tumikin's Shadow is a 1.5 mil, and in my opinion, it'd be easier to get a Shadow than a T-bow. Definitely. I would just do TOA. I'm gonna talk about what I did in the Inferno in the next video. Hopefully, I make another next video about it. Hopefully, but yeah, that's it. I'm gonna wrap up this video. That's just what I wanted to say about my progression. Don't feel intimidated when you see certain items. Don't feel intimidated to try certain content because your gear. Don't think that you can't not do certain content because your gear. That's a lie. That's a lie. You don't need, You don't need like some crazy. Say if you want to tank Bandos, you don't need Justiceer and all that. You know, you could do it with a 3 mil setup if you really wanted to. You don't even need the BGS. People will be willing to take you. It's so easy to become a tank in Bandos. I've needed tanks and I've had to have wait in like 2 hours just to get one tank. They'll take whoever they can get. They don't care. And if you don't know where you can do God Wars dungeons, you could tank for people for money. This is the channel right now. It's pretty sure the chat channel is osrs space GWD. Let me check right now. Yep, that's the chat channel. It's osrs space GWD. And to get there, you press on your inventory interface, you press the button all the way on the bottom left, and you press out of the 4 tabs, you press the one on the left, and you join it from there. So that's all I wanted to say. All right, now that's it. All right, that's it. So I'm gonna wrap up this video. If you have any questions, you want some tips, you want me to look at your account, just comment below. I don't mind. All right, peace.